Good morning, Year 3. How are you? It's Friday, end of the week, nearly the weekend. From what I can see, it is sunny outside yet again. How can we have such fantastic weather? Today we're going to be moving on with our book, Evie in the Jungle. So if you are joining us and you've missed a few lessons, you need to make sure that today you have a pen and paper ready and that you've read up to the end of chapter 3 of Evie in the Jungle. Now, chapter 3 is called Riding the River. So make sure you've downloaded the book. If you don't know how to download the book or you've missed the lesson where I explain it, click the link in the description below, which will take you to Monday's video. And if you have downloaded the book but you haven't caught up with your reading, now's the time to pause the video and make sure that you're up to date. So now everybody watching should be ready for the lesson, and we're going to start off today by looking at some of the best work that's come through the Year 3 inbox this week, just like a little mini exhibition. I've chosen these people because they've either answered the questions really well, given detailed and structured answers, or made a huge improvement in their work from later in the week compared to Monday. Let's start by taking a look at this piece of work, which you should be able to see below me. This is from someone called Hussein in Year 3. And the answer that I liked the best was this bit at the bottom here. So his answer to question 2, which the question was, why do you think Evie does not want to go to the Brazilian rainforest? And just listen to how well he's written his answer. I think Evie does not want to go to the Brazilian rainforest, so he's used a full sentence to answer his question, well done, because it makes her sad, so he's given his reason. I think this because we are told in the story that her mum died there. Now this is excellent, his second sentence, because this is the sentence he's used to give his example from the text. And he specifically said what in the story the reader is told. We are told in the story that her mum died there. And that directly links to why Evie would be sad. So this is what I would consider an almost perfect comprehension answer. Well done. Now this next piece of work is from Yusuf. And the reason I've chosen this piece of work is because earlier in the week, when we had our first few comprehension questions, I sent some feedback to Yusuf and I told him he needed to make his answers more detailed and look really carefully at the text for clues. And actually in this answer, especially in question 1, Yusuf managed to find some information and understand the text even better than most people. So a lot of people missed this, so look carefully at his answer. The question was, why do you think Evie wants to go to the Amazon? And Yusuf has responded, I think Evie wants to go to the Amazon because she wants to protect and see the animals. Now this is a bit that a lot of people missed. And then Yusuf has given an example from the text which has shown how he came to this answer. I think this because Evie says people make 30 football pitches in 1 minute in the Amazon. So he's pointed out that Evie is commenting that people are destroying the Amazon to make football pitches, and that's why she wants to go, to protect the animals. So this is a great answer because it has really understood the character of Evie and why she wants to go to this quite big and dangerous place. All of the bits of work that you've just seen were handed in on Wednesday, so they were based on chapter 2 of Evie in the Jungle. Yesterday, which was Thursday, you should have done some work on chapter 3 of Evie in the Jungle, where we were mainly looking for definitions and practicing using a dictionary using words from the story. Before we move on, I'm going to summarise, that's our key word for the day, so don't forget it, summarise. I'm going to summarise what happened in chapter 3 so that we're all ready to move on to chapter 4. Summarising is when you try to explain something that's happened or that you've read or a set of instructions, but instead of doing everything in detail, you just try to do it as simply and as concisely as possible. Being concise means you try to use fewer words and shorter sentences, so it's really easy for someone to understand and it doesn't take up a lot of time. So instead of explaining every tiny thing that happened in this chapter, I'm going to focus on the key things. At the beginning of the chapter, we see that Evie is on the boat in the jungle with her dad, and they finally see some pink river dolphins. Evie tries talking to them and she actually even shares some food with them. She then hears lots of noise of things in the jungle being destroyed. And as they're travelling along the river, she spots some other creatures. Finally, at the end of the chapter, she sees a furry creature hanging down from a branch. Now you've heard an example of a summary, it's time for you to have a go at the task yourself. The first thing that you're going to need to do is to write the date and the title and the LI. So can you please pause the video and do this on your piece of paper now? There are two elements to your task. Firstly, you need to read this chapter of the book. This is chapter 4, The Incredibly Daring Rescue. Once you've read that, your task is to write a summary of chapter 4. Remember that a summary should contain all the key information but not too much detail. So while you're reading the chapter, try to think, what are the key points of action that are happening in the chapter that you want to include in your summary. So I suggest that you pause the video now, go and read the chapter and do your task. At the end of the day, or once you've finished your morning tasks, don't forget to ask your mum, dad or guardian to help you send an email with a picture of your work. I love to see what everyone's been up to, so good luck and I hope you will have a lovely weekend.